Now we'll add a WebUI with layout template using Jinja2. So let's open up the WebUI. We'll mount it at slash, so slash index.html slash other paths slash CSS paths can be used for WebUI. Let's write it in frontend.py, so lib.frontend, and we'll import an app.fe. So let's open up a frontend.py here. We'll need all the same basics as for any sub application, so let's import FastAPI request. Let's also import StaticFiles so we can mount CSS paths which don't need a template for them. So to mount /CSS path for StaticFiles, let's put in a static/CSS directory path here. Let's create the directory. Later on we'll add the CSS file into it. So for the structure, for now, let's add for root path. We'll define an async get root. Since we'll be using Jinja2, let's use a Jinja template that will be reading index.html from the template directory, and we'll pass the request to it. A response class to be HTML response for this, so it's explicit. For this we'll be importing the response class, the HTML response that we just said, and the templating engine that we want for Jinja2 templates. So import Jinja2 templates, and let's instantiate into templates that we are using in our get root. So Jinja2 templates directory is equal to the path where we will be keeping our HTML files, so templates, and let's also define the app.fe sub application that we want. Let's give it a title as well in this case. Now let's create the required paths that we want, the templates directory where we'll be putting our HTML files. Let's create the file index.html, the layout file, and the CSS file. The layout file will be having the main structure. Let's install Jinja2. So as I was saying, the layout file will have the main HTML structure, the baseline, the head, body, the main CSS file and all, and then any other file like index.html, user.html and all, they can just have the inner content which will be applied within the template of layout, so we don't need to repeat the head, body again, and it will be uniform across all the web pages that we create in this case. So for that, what we'll do is within the body node we'll add a main div element where we'll want the blocks to be injected from index and other HTML files. So we'll define that block using block content to end block, and now when we go to index.html we can extend layout using extends and the path of this HTML file, and then providing the block that need to be injected back into layout HTML. So in this case, since for sample, just let's use a ready heading block. Let's add a simple index.css for the main div block that we had. So we'll just add a background color to see that it's getting implemented. Now let's run our app. Let's try and open index.html. Now we see we get 404 here. That's because of the path at which we have defined our get root. If we'll go to front end, we'll see that it's at slash, not slash index.html. So what we need to do is to index.html here. This should make that work. As you see, it's index.html is working. It's also loading index.css, and we are seeing the effect of CSS file as well. Now let's make slash redirect to slash index.html. So the default path would be index.html. For that, we'll be using redirect response. That's available to us via Starlet, one of the dependencies for FastAPI. We'll be sending status code HTTP 302, that is for redirection. Let's also import it. So we'll need status. We'll also need, let's fix the name. So from starlet.responses, we'll be importing redirect response. Let's rename it to get.html, and we'll make it so it returns any HTML file present within templates. So we tokenize the name of the file, and the template response gets that token as well. So it will be a dynamic path of sorts. Now let's reload it. It's still working. Let's try going to slash path and see if it's redirecting. It's redirecting. As you can see in our logs, slash goes 302. More next.